Good morning once more, Mr. Moshe. Good to see you again, sir. My name is Beatrice, as you already know. Okay, today we'll be talking about the transport and financial responsibility in the state of Maryland. When it comes to financial responsibility, what is your view on that, sir?
Good morning, Beatrice. Thank you again for coming and being the Campaign Communications Director. We're running here for the Maryland State Senate in the 39th District. The 39th District includes here in Clarksburg, not all, the most of Clarksburg, Germantown, the northern Gaithersburg. Now, this is a topic that is very important to me. I've been involved with financial matters in my personal life. I own Maryland Metal, one of the largest precious metals company in Maryland, Real Money. I've also been involved with financial services. I know you're in insurance. I was with New York Life for some time. I was also with did financial Friedman Billings and Ramsey. I used to work there for some time as well. People know Manny Friedman. Maryland state and local governments carry over $61 billion in debt, funded and unfunded liabilities, and are in a $39 billion financial hole. We received a grade D from Truth in Accounting, ranking 37th out of 50 states. Now, at the same time, we have the highest state median income in the United States at over $84,000 per family. So we should be in the best financial position when we have these workers working for the federal government. They're also working in financial services, healthcare. So we have some of the best paid. And in this district, it's almost $100,000 average income. So we shouldn't be in this hole. In 2022, we had annual revenues of $62 billion and $22 billion in asset. Peter Franchot, who I know, he did a good job. But Westmore, it looks like he's going to be our governor, and we'll have to work with him. I think he's a great guy. The current administration touted a successful $2.5 billion surplus due to their efforts. A simple review of the financial statements reveals that $25 billion of that revenue came from the federal government. Off the Treasury printing press, adding more to our 30 plus trillion dollars in debt. This is something I talk about all the time at Maryland Metal. The federal government is playing games with our currency because it's not backed by anything. It's a fiat currency. They printed 5 times as much U.S. dollars since the pandemic. Of course, gas prices on inflation is going to go up. We just printed. It's going to go up 4 times. I wouldn't be surprised if gas goes to $15 a gallon. These federal grants are not guaranteed for Maryland's future. In fact, $6 billion was transferred for the pandemic assistance. We must plan for our financial future independent of the federal government's precarious fiscal house and pay down our debt, especially as interest rates rise rapidly. The cost of borrowing is going up. But again, we're intertwined with the federal government. We use the U.S. dollar. How are we going to do this? Over the next 4 to 10 years, we can get our financial house in order, but it will require more honesty and transparency from the comptroller and financial services. How are we going to do this? We must create and fund a state treasury holding at least $5 billion in real money, precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. We can create a vault in the western Maryland mountains, somewhere secure. Why do we need real money? Why do we need gold, silver, platinum, palladium? Every great empire, every great nation has stored their wealth, as you know, from Africa and Western Africa. Mansa Musa was the wealthiest man in history because they used gold. Gold is the only real way to hold a value. A cryptocurrency can be multiplied. We've seen what happened to the cryptocurrency. They lost over 70% of their values because they have no intrinsic value. Gold is something you can't just create more gold. You can't create it. In diamonds, you can actually create it in a laboratory. You can make diamonds in a lab, but not gold. As I see, you're wearing some gold today. So we need to have our own gold. Yeah, yes. And gold, what it does is it creates a base value for your currency. Even if the United States, we know we have all that gold in Fort Knox and West Point, 8,000 tons. So when we have our own treasury, about 5 billion, even if it's only one less than a tenth, but it becomes a foundation for the wealth of our state, and it gives confidence in our banks. And whatever happens with the U.S. dollar, eventually it will become more. Its value will become more realistic in terms of the gold, silver, platinum, palladium, which is, of course, a great value right now. This will back up our currency, and also we need to invest, as we, of course, support much more money into the environment as possible, as much as twice the amount we're spending now, which will yield future revenues and taxes from the fishing, oyster industry once we clean the Chesapeake Bay. Seagrass farming is something I talk about a lot now. That's the key to solving the climate crisis. We plant those all over Maryland. It's going to yield financial, and we can have the government invested in that, actually partnering. So they're going to reap the profits from that as a percentage, federal investments in agriculture. So that's where we stand on the fiscal responsibility. We actually overall we're doing okay as a state, but we have some work to do, and we could be a model for the nation. A lot of other states, New York and California and others, they're not in as good a position as us. So that's our view in this campaign in the Green Party.
Okay, thank you. Well explained. So, right now, I would like for us to move over to the transport
Transportation, yes.
or transportation system in the state of Maryland. So, when it comes to, go ahead, you were saying something.
Yeah, what's our view on transportation?
Yes, I would love for you to tell me what you actually think of.
Thank you, Beatrice. I know you've studied financial matters for some time in Cameroon as well as here and just graduated from in Indiana. But in 2023, we had revenues of $1.2 billion from fuel taxes, 2.25 from transportation revenues. 1.3 billion of that came from federal funds for the infrastructure bills and such. However, our expenditures were 5.6 billion, 1.4 billion on roads, 1.3 billion for mass transit, 167 million for the DC metro system, 225 million for the airports, 331 million for the ports, including the Baltimore Harbor and the Howard Street Tunnel, which was a big project. Now, Maryland's Department of Transportation State Highway Administration is on track to complete improvements of most of the state highways, but we still have 15% that are not complete. Hogan, it was a big deal for Hogan, but we're still far behind. Most of the bridges have been repaired. They've done some good work in the Chesapeake Bay. I know that's caused some controversy. Is it environmentally sound? The Maryland Transportation Authorities, the administration's 53 light rail vehicle fleet and 63 passenger coaches were overhauled. But we need to go all electric. We're going to talk about that soon. Hogan spent $500 million for transportation infrastructure improvements. Maryland's doing okay. But let's think about it from a bigger standpoint. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I want to go quickly overview the Purple Line. The Purple Line was supposed to be done in 2026. It's a 16-mile long light rail. It is electric, goes from New Carrollton around to Bethesda. I just want to let you know this has been a disaster of a project. It's gone from federal court. It's $1.4 billion over budget, and it is 3.7 going to be 3.7 billion over the 30-year lifetime. It went from federal court. The first they knocked it down. The U.S. Court of Appeals in 2017 said we're going to go forward, but we need to do a new environmental study, which was not done. They still passed it and said it could go forward. The other thing with the Purple Line is over costs, but at least it will help. Hopefully, some folks who are driving now with gas-based cars need to use that and help people. So it's going to go forward, and we do support it, but we have to be careful as it's being built by a new contractor. The first one bailed out. It's been a real headache. That make sure they plant the trees where, or replace trees that they're cutting down, and careful along the way, especially in Sligo Creek where I grew up. So that's the Purple Line, and we're going to be carefully watching that as it wraps up, way over budget, and hopefully in 4 years. But you know how things go. It probably won't be done in 4 years. Cars. Maryland cannot control the car manufacturers who are not building enough electric and hybrid vehicles. If anyone like me is looking for one, it's very hard to find one. They're $4,000 or $5,000 over a sticker right now because of the chip issue. You can't even get the electric infrastructure is not there. We don't have the charging stations. You can't find very many under $30,000. For example, the Honda Insight is no longer is going to stop being built, which is a 52 miles per gallon car. Toyota has a few. Nissan doesn't have many. It's working on one. We've got to get moving there on that. We must improve the charging technology. That means that instead of gas stations, every gas station has a charging station. We got to make it quicker. We don't want to wait all night or 8 hours to charge a car. It's got to be It's got to be less than 30 minutes. People don't want. They want to wait 5 minutes to charge a car. And that technology is being researched now. We can make it happen. And of course, the electricity has to come from renewable sources: solar, wind, nuclear potentially. We'll talk about that. We talked about that in the past, but we've got to get everything electric because look what's going on in Kentucky. These storms, the climate. We don't talk climate change. We talked about this before. The greenhouse gases are heating up the planet, making more storms, and that's going to affect us here in Maryland as well. So, and it's a larger project to fix, but we need to get started with the cars. Everyone should look into hybrid or gas, a much more efficient gas car, maybe CVT. And what we're talking about in our campaign is incentivizing the American companies. If they're also Honda and others who do have American branches, they want to build a full electric car manufacturing facility in Maryland, maybe two on the Eastern Shore, different brands. We can become a leader in electric car manufacturing. It will create thousands of jobs, and we'll move some of the farmland and replace and replant trees around it. We'll have huge tax credits for these companies who come in here. We're going to incentivize them. We're going to even provide funding loans so they can build these facilities. And then we're going to incentivize the ride-sharing companies, the Lyft and Uber drivers, to start driving electric and hybrid cars. They're going to get credits, they're going to get discounts, they're going to get tax breaks. So all of this is part of the picture. Cars are a big deal when it comes to the environment. And then finally, buses. We did have the Zero Emission Bus Transition Act. All new buses purchased must be fully electric. Maryland must have 50% electric buses by 2030. Montgomery County is switching all school buses to electric by 2030. And this is a great start, but we've got to make all public transportation fully electric based on renewable sources by 2035. This is where we stand. This is a major initiative and goal that we must achieve so we can save our environment and do our part in the global fight against climate change and potential disasters. So that's our view.
Okay, Mr. Moshe. I guess this is where we come to the end of the whole discussion and hope your goals are achieved as planned. So it was great meeting you again today and hope to see you next time, Mr. Moshe. Have a blessed one and good luck.
Oh, thank you so much. This is the eighth video of our series, the first series. I just want to let everyone know, the voters in the 39th district, that the mail-in, this year the mail-in voting has gone up 10 times as much as as 2018 election. So many voters are going to get that ballot in the mail in October. So we've got to get ready, get this campaign going early. And I want to let everyone know that.
Also, you'll be sending out mailers.
Well, the state sends out the voting by mail. For many people, they're going. Many people will still vote in those schools and those election physical locations. So our campaign is ready, and we're going to be doing a lot of campaigning out here. We look forward to your vote and the vote of all of our local citizens. We're appealing to all communities. We have the African American community very strong here, the Asian community, almost 20%, the Hispanic community we're going to be reaching out to already. And we're doing that right now. A lot of small businesses as well as individuals' homes. We're going to do the best we can, and we're going to try to, whether we win or not, we're going to be pushing to save Maryland's environment and make it a better state. What we all want to do. We have no other choice, so we're going to have to do that. I think there's great potential here. We have the funds. We have the number one. We make the most money. Why can't we We can make it the best state. There's no doubt. Okay. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of the summer. And don't forget to vote for our campaign
Of course I will.
in the 39th district come November. Thank you.